All right, y'all. Hey, what's good, y'all? Welcome to Contrast Comedy. I'm one of your hosts, Teddy B.
And I'm Jerry Corley, aka the Joke Doctor on YouTube.
And I am AKA the Joke Doctor's assistant, not on YouTube because I only got like 70 subscribers. So please subscribe, people, subscribe. But yeah, today's episode, we're kind of all over the place. We were going to talk about influencers, but you know what? Just sit back and enjoy, y'all. Peace.
We got off into ADD comedy. Here we go.
Comedy. Enjoy, guys. What's up, man?
What's up, Teddy B? You always have a cool T-shirt on.
So I'm trying to make that a thing.
All right, that's good. I like it.
It's the comedy dream team.
Comedy Dream Team.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got Robin Williams. Who's on?
Robin
there?
Williams.
Looks
That's
like
all you
John
got.
Rickles.
Rickles, Chappelle, Dangerfield, Hedberg, Chris Rock, Richard Pryor, Seinfeld, Bill Burr, Bernie Mac, George Carlin, Eddie Murphy. I think that's Chris Rock. That's everybody. Yeah, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Don Rickles, Bernie Mac. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. What's your opinion on who deserves to be there, who doesn't deserve to be there?
I would say I like all of them. Like I honestly, I really, I wouldn't. I mean, Eddie he's only had like he only did the two like the actual specials, and I was too young to actually ever see him do comedy like live back in the day. So I wouldn't put. You don't like him, Coda? Okay, I wouldn't put Eddie on there. I keep Rock on there. I mean, Mitch is Mitch. I'm more biased towards him. I like him, but I wouldn't necessarily put Mitch as like the comedy dream team. I definitely,
Hedberg?
yeah, Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah, I agree because his longevity is it's just like if you're going to put him out there, where's Billy Hicks, right?
Yeah,
So Bill Hicks is
or
way
Sam
more
Kinison,
Sam Kinison. Yeah,
or
those
Stephen
guys,
Wright.
or Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah,
Well, Stephen Wright made the top 100 of all time Comedy Central, right? So I would
like
say that what everybody's got and anytime you put up the top comedians, top 50 comedians, you're always going to get people that, say so and so should be up there. It's like, and now we're in a different generation too. I mean, what about, you back in the classic dudes, right? So
yeah,
Bob Hope had, recorded more shows than anybody. Bob Hope had the power to call the president of NBC on a Monday and have him change the programming schedule so that he could do a special on Sunday. So within the week, I mean, that's nobody had that power.
wasn't Bob Newhart like the first comedian to win a Grammy for his
Yeah,
album?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Something like that. Oh, things like that. So it's like, but now we're in a whole different day, right? So
yeah.
it's
And like,
wild,
there's no women on this dream team
right?
either.
Joan Rivers has the largest collection of categorized jokes in comedy history.
Right?
Nobody gives her credit. Yeah, it's like, but that's interesting, right? So when we think of comedian, we think immediately male.
Yeah. And then it's also too, this is like I bought this off a guy, so more than likely this is like his biased choice of his comedy dream team of like who his favorite comedians are. And I was like, well, some of these comedians I relate to and I like too, so that's why I bought it. But yeah, I like it.
But that's an interesting one to talk about Eddie Murphy, because Eddie Murphy, right? He had certainly super talented, 19 years old, was on SNL, very young, but then, fizzled
Yeah.
in his comedy, just kind of dropped off the map. And then there was a rumor he was coming back last year to do a special, and all of a sudden you see a bunch of stuff on the internet get scrubbed about him. It was no longer, stories about him were gone,
Mm.
about how he like when Bill Cosby told him to clean it up, that sort of thing. And he was like, "Fuck you,
Yeah, I
I'll do
remember
what
that
I
because we
want."
talked about that in I think it was the was it It was Raw. He talked about that in Raw.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
so but then he never came back. So it was
Nah.
like, I wonder what happened. Did he
I think it was
go
because
through
of his
some
kids. He wanted, because I think he has like 10 kids or something like that. That it was more like he became more kid focused and just didn't want to tarnish the reputation he now has with his kids.
Oh, all right.
Could
All
be.
right.
I think I heard something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was stoked. I was wanting him to come back. But then again, too, comedy's changed since he's done comedy, and it's I wouldn't necessarily say comedy is like riding a bike, especially when you were doing comedy in the 80s and how you could sit there and like half the shit Eddie said in Delirious and Raw, cancel culture would be on his ass in 2024 and 2025.
Right.
So
Without a doubt.
yeah, it
Without a doubt.
definitely changed.
About
Definitely
the gay
changed.
thing and looking at my,
Yeah,
my ass is burning, that kind of thing. And you go back and you look at the comedy, it was like, it was, you go, if you go back and look at it, you go, well, that was kind of easy to compare it to today because comedy audiences have evolved tremendously to, from seeing a joke that to seeing, now knowing how so many jokes are put together because there's so much comedy available out there. And some clown is out there actually showing there's actually structures and things like that. So that kind of like when then they start to identify them, they see Mark Norman doing an analogy. They know what that is now. Compare and contrast. They know what that is.
play.
So now it's like then you've got Nate Bargatze, who's the storyteller. Very colloquial, easygoing Tennessee guy, and then has the top box office sales.
Yeah,
So
I liked his
yeah,
Super Bowl commercial. That was a good Super Bowl commercial for
I
Uber Eats.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, because his it was he's spending all this. He's because he's so famous now. He's buying all this stuff. He got himself some Nate Bargatze clones. He has he bought himself like a opera singer that only sings him compliments. And he's all like, "I have such beautiful don't and all this other stuff. And it was like and his accountant was all like, "You can't be spending money like this." And then he's like doing Uber Eats and all this other stuff. It was a pretty good commercial. My favorite
Yeah,
Super Bowl commercial though was the freaking Matt Damon, David Beckham one. And
yeah,
then,
dude, I didn't even watch the Super Bowl. That's how I was like, that's how anti-commercialism I was going this time around. I was
but
like, I boycotted. I said, if Trump's going, I'm not going. That
yeah,
kind of thing. But there was a couple of things I had going on that day too. It was like I was teaching a workshop. Um, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even motivated to watch the Super Bowl. And it was after the president of the NFL basically was being interviewed, and he was like, he said something like, "Did you share this with me? Who shared it with me?" He
it was
basically
me.
said, he said, "Well, you got to understand. You got to understand. First, the NFL is first a business. Second, entertainment. Third, a sport." And I was like, "Fuck you, then. Bye." You
It's a,
know.
it's a sport first, motherfucker.
That's
Shit.
right. What he was said. That's what he said. That's when I
Oh,
was like, no,
Jesus.
fuck you. This
It's a
commercialism,
business.
this
Wow.
constant abuse of consumers, of the
Yes,
people,
very
and we're
much
seeing it
so.
more and more. So I'm really hypersensitive to that. Every time I walk into Ralph's, I see the predatory pricing. I see
Yep.
all that stuff, and I'm like, no, man, that's why I try to avoid that store. I go to Trader Joe's for almost everything. Why should I be charged $8, $7 for a bag of chips at Ralph's, and I can go get that same bag of chips, regular chips at Trader Joe's for $3, right?
I'm gonna have to
It's
start
like
shopping at Trader Joe's
that's
then.
somebody saying to you, it's not inflation. Potatoes haven't gone up, right?
You know,
No, what's gone up is their egos and their
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 greed.
drive to be greedy and charge you. Let's see how much these motherfuckers will pay. Let's see how much these jackasses will pay. Oh fuck, they're paying $5 for a bag? Ha! Watch this. 6. Oh yeah, they're still buying it. 7. Ha ha! Look at that. They're still buying it, these assholes.
And I guess now it's you're considered a patriot if you're buying like that. You're happy that we're now paying these high prices. Like they did a poll, and apparently 70% of the people approve of what Musk is doing with this whole Doge thing because of the of fighting all this corruption in the treasury, but no one's talking about how much money this motherfucker is getting off these government grants and government handouts. Like he's calling all these other people on these programs parasites, but he's the biggest parasite of them all. And ain't nobody saying anything. And he's getting rid of all the watchdogs that were watching over his shit, so he can't be this
Dude,
parasite, dude. Oh my
he
god, bro.
installed software in the computers that write the checks. So, and like, they say, oh, so he could see how, who gets what check, whatever. It's not his business. He's not elected.
No.
He has no official position. He's not congressionally approved. He doesn't belong there. The guy's a parasite himself, and he's now got access to the writing of the checks, trillions of dollars. I have a
Yes.
feeling they talk to each other and go like, we're billionaires, right? Have you ever imagined what it would be like to be a trillionaire? And they're like, oh yeah, they're basically I think they're stealing the money that's coming out of the treasury, and it's like that's what these guys are doing.
Dismantling Medicaid. Like
They have
Medicaid's
a.
getting dismantled.
I think we played that thing from Anonymous last
Yeah,
week,
we played it
which was
last week.
basically
Yep.
they're saying they're trying to push the working class into the poor
Mm-hmm.
class so that they can have control, like just what an oligarchy does.
Yeah.
People don't understand. It's happening right before their very eyes. But they just started this week. I started reading some stories in red states, how um, people are feeling betrayed because all of a sudden, wait a second, how many MAGA people actually work in government jobs? Lots.
Exactly.
They were like, we
Exactly.
didn't support him so that my husband could lose his
Now I'm
job.
furloughed.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I
And the
saw.
guy
Good.
that guy in the video on the talking about he could lose his farm.
Yeah. I saw this one where they voted for Trump and there was a government job. They sold their house. They were living in Virginia and now they were gonna move over to Texas because of this government job. But then when Trump put the freeze on all government jobs and shit, now they don't have a house to live in. They don't got anything. They're like, Mr. Trump, please help.
It was the other way around, going from Texas to Virginia
Oh, okay. That's what it was. All right. Yeah.
for a federal job.
Yeah.
So, there's like, yeah, so Texas to Virginia, and then they were in the mid getting ready to move. We're in the middle of the move, and
Job
all of a
has
sudden the job is gone. They get the
yeah.
letter of termination. Wow, they were all like Shane Gillis. I got the job. Shit, I got fired before I even got there.
And nobody saw my podcast.
Yeah, right. But look what he did. He took that and capitalized on it, right? So
Yeah.
took every knock as a boost.
Did you see the any of the clips of Little X? Because I guess that's what they're calling him. I don't know why him and Grimes decided to name their kid that. That was like that's worse than naming your kid Apple. But I guess his nickname is Little X. Did you see any of the clips of Little X in the Oval, bro? Like
Yeah, you're not the president. You need to leave.
you shut your mouth. You
And then
shut.
and then he says something like he said "fuck you" or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. Fuck you or something like that. He picked his nose, wiped it on his desk, and Trump's just sitting there like, it's like, bro,
What
like,
the hell?
oh man. Talk about bring your kid to work day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit. Like, oh my gosh, dude. This is wild. This is so wild. So wild. So I was looking at you are right about the list. So like Rolling Stone has their list of their top 25 and then Forbes has a 50 and it's totally skewed. Like Theo Vaughn's not even in the 50 on Forbes, but he did
Right,
make it to Rolling Stones.
right. So the top influencers are all over the place. People
Yeah.
are again. It could be like the comedy dream team.
Yep.
If we just went like in terms of numbers, top influencers in terms of numbers, in terms of viewers. If we go or followers, let's try followers. Um, we got oh, it's terms of followers. Oh, come on, not influencers, man. Okay, let's go back and go creators. How about
Creators,
that?
content creators.
Content creators. How so? Let's do because influencers now is like Cristiano Ronaldo is at the top, and yeah, although he's definitely an influencer as far as being one of the top football players.
Football.
Oh man, look at this. So, okay, now I get into. Let's take a look here. I'll even share this because it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting little diagram. Now it's all how it's like. This is how big it's becoming. It's like here's now. Of course, this is Gemini, the Google AI. By the way, oh, that's something we should discuss.
What's up?
Google AI. Now, if you have you anybody over the 18 automatically has Google AI in their docs looking at all your shit, summarizing it, and you have to get into your settings and shut them off because
So
I don't.
they're in the Google Docs looking at my jokes and shit now.
Yeah, looking at all your stuff
Jesus.
automatically. So it's like that's something for people to be aware of. And of course, this is what they did. They got in trouble just 2 years ago for being in your Gmail
Hmm.
and using your Gmail to market you. So any email you were sending through Gmail, they were looking at what your likes were, dislikes, and then they would take that and use that information or and probably also sell that data.
Sell it, more than likely selling it. Yeah.
Like, holy shit, man. This is what I mean, the abuse of the consumer,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Soiling
like
green,
we
dude.
have all this power, all this fucking power. We can immediately just stop shopping for like 2 weeks. Remember how they were like when the pandemic hit, they were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh shit, 6 weeks of this, we could like tank the economy totally." It's like you're going to tank the economy in 6 weeks. They don't need to talk to economists. They need to talk to actors because actors know how to survive over 6 months of not working.
Bet.
So it's like in this case we have um you have but man, consumers just need to get together, just say, hey, we're not going to shop. We're not do anything. They need to create their own forum or however that we want to communicate,
The needle's in too
right?
thick for a lot of people, man. They can't get out.
I know, like you got to shop.
I'm
You,
not.
you you're addicted to Amazon,
I'm
you
addicted to
know?
Amazon, man.
Just
I
go to
got everything.
Pornhub instead, bro. Just stay off of Amazon for 1 week. So you have to, are you the master of your domain? No, you're the master of your baiter. You can't resist.
Well, that's
Pretend
another.
pretend you're married, dude, and you you won't have sex for with anything for like 6 years.
I wish there
Dude, it's so
was.
funny how we're both in the same boat there now, right?
Yeah.
That's so funny to me.
Oh
Um,
shit, man.
and it's like, and people are like, well, how do you feel? You know, some people, I said, I feel good. I feel like it's been a long time coming.
Right?
Is it going to be a pain in the ass? Yes.
Yes.
Is it going to be a drag? Yes, but it's like it's going to be, and on the other side of the horizon there, it's going to be great
It'd be so much
because
better.
it's so much better,
Yes.
man.
Yes.
Just the feeling of just like having that person in the room is like that feeling's not going to be. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like,
Yeah.
right? And
Or
now I'm
like
just
the weight of like just having just the relief of not even having to see them, hear their voice,
yeah,
none of that shit.
roll their eyes when I do my jokes. Roll my eyes when I do my Trump impression.
Like with mine, I was all like, I earlier in the week, I was like, hey, what's because like the kids were off on like the kids got a fucking 5 day weekend this year. And I guess next year they're gonna get a whole week off in February now. It's called ski week or some bullshit like that, but whatever. So I text my ex and I'm all like, hey, I'm planning on getting my car worked on. I was so what's going on? And she's all like, well, you're gonna need to have the kids, all this stuff. And it sounded, and it to me, it was like so much work that I was like, all right, screw it. I'll reschedule my car appointment. So then she texts me back with, well, I can find one of the kids a play date and the other kid can stay with his older brother. So I was like, all right, cool. And just kind of left it like that because she like gave me the option. So I went ahead and planned out and I got scheduled my car appointment. So the like that Thursday, I was like, hey, just reminder, I'm going to do my car appointment. I'll pick up our youngest kid after I'm done. And then she sends me a text back talking about like, well, it would have been nice if you would have told me this. And I'm like, you're the one that gave me the idea. It's like if you would have never gave me the idea, I wouldn't even done it, and we just would have been left out. So whatever. But then I was like, I had just finished listening to some Wayne Dyer, and I was just like, that's me. It's a me thing. Just let it go. They just want to get it off their thing. Let them get it off their thing. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And just kept it moving. But I was just like, if you wouldn't have even given the idea, then I wouldn't even have done it. So why are you getting like why are you even like giving me this comment? But it's something that you feel you have to do, so whatever, just do it. But yeah, it just bothered
So
me.
yeah, Dr. Wayne Dyer, that's a good choice because I always like he said if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yeah.
And unless the thing you're looking at is change, because it's the only thing you have in your pocket, then no matter how many times you change the way you look at that change, at the end of the day, it's still change. Unless somebody puts their 2 cents in, then it's net positive change. The thing with Dr. Wayne Dyer is, he said anxiety doesn't exist, right? That's what he says. Anxiety doesn't exist. Then he
Yeah.
died of a heart attack.
Right.
Number one cause of heart attacks, anxiety.
Anxiety.
Actually, that's not true. He died of cancer,
Oh,
but
did he die of cancer? I
it
thought it was a
doesn't
heart
really help
attack.
the joke, right? So maybe he died of a heart attack as a result of the cancer. I don't know. But the thing is like, isn't that weird? It's like, what causes cancer? Usually illness or dis-ease, right?
Dis-ease.
You open
Yep.
your body up to more, negative energy in your body. It's acidic. It's not getting oxygen. It's anaerobic, right? So but in this case, but I do like Wayne Dyer because he does help give you real tangible advice for
Yes.
shit just like that. It's a me thing.
Yeah.
But dude, all right, get this one.
Yeah.
When we were deciding who was going to stay in the house, um, we sat down. She said, "Well, about the house, like who should leave." I said, "Well, considering that you have Delaney, when you're home, it's going to be you and Delaney. When I'm home, when I'm here and Delaney's with me, it's going to be me, Delaney, and Chris. Right away, it's three people. I have my office, my business is run in my home. And when the kids come to visit for Christmas, I need the bigger place, right? And she says, "Oh, well, based on that criteria, that sounds like the right thing to do." Okay, I'm going to start looking at places right now to because I want to get out as quickly as possible. Okay. So then she comes in just the other day, and it's like, oh, and I decided that, and now I'm going to have to, I'm going to talk to, I was talking to my a lawyer, and when we decide who's going to leave and who's going to stay in the house, I go, what do you mean when we decide? We already had this conversation. No, we didn't. I go, we did have this conversation, and we decided that I would stay and you would leave because, and I named the same criteria. I said, we went through this, and you said that sounds like it didn't mean I'd agreed to it. I said, it does mean you agreed to it because you said okay.
Right.
And then when she's like yelling at me, and I said, so what are you saying? You changed your mind? Yes, I changed my mind. So how could you, in order to change your mind, you had to originally agree to it? And she goes, fuck you. I fucking hate you. I hate you. I was like, those are some harsh words.
Yeah.
I said, is that how you respond when you realize you're wrong? Is that the response when you realize you're wrong? It's like that
That's
because I
vicious,
just
yo.
caught you in your lie, right? And now you're so mad. You're saying you hate me. Oh man, I could never hate you. You're the mother of my child, right? So
Right.
it's like so weird. It's like, are you sure? Maybe you should listen to Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Mm.
Oh,
become
she's
a
like, I
become a
fucking
no
hate you.
limit person.
Shut up. I fucking hate you. She was like, and I was like surprised. That normally she's super passive, right? That
Uh-huh.
normally I've never heard those words come out of her mouth in the entire time I've known her towards anybody.
Wow.
But they came out towards me. And I was like, and I wasn't doing anything except for restating this discussion we had
Yeah,
about who would stay and who would go. So it was like I was like, "Oh man, you're going to just now you're
that's
deciding you're going to pull the
wild.
rug out when I've made plans."
That's wild.
And I said, "You were saying you even said I'm going to start looking for places cuz I want to get out as soon as possible." And it's like that's what you said. And then it's like and whew, I was like,
Bro, buckle
man.
up, man. You're gonna be in for a bumpy one, dude. Jeez,
And so that's,
Louise.
when we first decided we weren't going to use attorneys, we're going to workshop it
Uh-huh.
because we could get along. Then she got an attorney.
Ah,
And I was like, okay, this is how this is going to go. So here's the deal. Like she said, she thought I was cheating because she tracked me.
right. I remember
She put a tracker in my car.
6 times.
Right? Well, at least 6 times, right? It was in the car. So wherever I was
Jesus.
going, she was tracking me, and she doesn't know that she broke the law. And it's like at any point, I could file that and and then ruin her entire career. I said, so you
Mm.
better be on your best behavior because I might have been unethical and immoral, but you broke the law.
You got the red button. You can just
Yeah.
push that red button.
That's the nuclear button right there.
Don't
And
cross me.
it doesn't bring me a Diet Coke. It it brings you a subpoena.
Oh, jeez. Gosh, man.
So
Uh,
yeah, and it's like there's no reason, but I've got that ace. I've got it up my
you
sleeve,
got
and I'm
up your
not going to
sleeve,
use
right? To
it.
use
I
it.
would
Yeah.
hate to do that
Yeah, you don't
because
want to do that.
I don't want to fucking do that.
At the end of the
And
day, it's still your kid's mom, like you got
that's
respect
right.
for her. You just
And
can't
it's
be with
like
her.
I'm like I don't want to. I want to try to. I've done this before. And I wanted to go as easy as possible. And I wanted to go so easy, I'd let go of the house. I was like, I just want to look, I don't, you want the accountant. I don't want anything to do with this. And so I was like, I shouldn't have done that. I should just like said, no, you're going to have to fight for everything too. But dude, it's so much easier just to say, just easy. Easy does it. There's no
Talk about the first one,
reason.
right?
Yeah, the first one, there's no
Yeah.
reason to do this crazy shit. There's really no reason for it. You can make it,
Nah.
it can go so much easier, and now you're causing it to be a fucking fight. And my argument is a sane argument. It's not an illegitimate argument. Just in the simple visitation, I've got three people in the house. You have two people in the house, right? I should have the bigger house. Then I've got a bigger family during Christmas. I got five kids. They come here. I need a bigger house,
Yeah.
right? You don't have anybody that comes see you at Christmas, you know, because your family lives in Portland and they don't come down. They're older. They don't really, travel much right now. So
Uh,
in this case,
damn, man.
it's much easier. So we were talking about influencers, the
Yes.
top influencers. Now, what I loved about this, as soon as I opened it up, I said content creators in terms of followers. And all of a sudden, look at it's got different
It's
tiers
broken
now.
down. Yeah. Nano influencers, micro influencers, mid tier. They should
So wait a
have like
second.
sub
I
nano. I'm
I'm
sub
a
nano.
I wait, so what am I? What's under nano? Because I have three followers.
Right? I'm sub
So
nano.
for our podcast, like I got three followers. But I did get a couple of emails, man, from people. Hey man, I'm so happy to hear your podcast is going again.
Really?
So yeah, I was like, oh, that's great. We should make sure to keep this up.
Yeah,
It's almost like it's
that's what's
almost
up.
like trying to take a dick pic and try to keep this up. The lighting right. Hang on. Is that no? Yeah, and I want the reflection on the left side of the dome.
The lighting's just not right. The lighting's just not
I
right.
don't know how people I've never taken one of those. I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do with it.
I've done too many. And it's
It's like
like,
they're like,
and in
eh.
my 40s, in my 40s, like I would make sense if I was doing this like 18, 19 in my 20s. No, I'm taking dick pics still in my 40s, bro. Like
Mm.
that was just like, dude, what are you doing, Teddy?
By the
But
way, they did come out with that. They did come out with that. There was a recent thing that came out that said the NSA. There was just a story that came out said the NSA, the government, has been tracking all your texts. So it's like, and so I was like, the government has access to all your texts, and I was like, or I think it was the NSA, right? The NSA has all your texts, and I've known this for a while,
Mhm.
but I was like, and people were like, so what? If I haven't done anything, what am I worried about? I said, the government has your dick. The government has seen your dick. And then they go, no, that's not cool. Hmm.
Oh
It's like,
man.
be careful what you put out there
Yeah,
because everybody's
seriously.
now fucking watching. Man, and if we go back to look at the Big Brother, right? We talked about
Yes.
Big Brother when I was in fourth grade, man, and I was like, oh
1984.
wow, yeah, they would never let that happen. And my teacher, Mr. Zagorski,
Sigorsky, Russian, huh?
yeah, his family, the Zagorski helicopter, right? So
Oh.
so he was like in government contracts and all that stuff. He used to warn us. He said the reason why the Soviet Union collapsed because you can't eat guns. And it was like, because their whole thing was military manufacturing, right? And it's like,
Hmm.
but you can't eat guns. And he said you got to be able to feed your people, right? And
Yeah.
so, it's like he used to have simple things, but he was also a little bit of a drunk. Kept a bottle in his drawer, but he was
Wow.
also brilliant, right? And I was too young to realize the little hints he was giving out during that time. And it's like, and then when I was in college, junior college,
Hmm.
my teacher for physical sciences, geology and physical sciences. He said, I think it was sort of physics, junior physics course. Um, he put a big dollar sign on the. Now he's the guy that said he says when we took our first when we were reading, he had people read out of the text.
Okay.
He says you got to learn how to read the text, the textbook. And he said, and he was a really cool dude, had always had a sense of humor. And he said, and he had this vacuum tube sitting on the front on the lab table in the front of the class. He said, you gotta know how to read the text. He said, like, read that first part. And they were like, nothing happens in a vacuum. And he's like, I want you to take a pencil and put a line through that. Don't use a pen because you're going to want to resell these books. And he said, now that's right away. It's not true. Nothing happens in a vacuum. That's nonsense. He said, I'll prove it to you right now. He said, what I have here is a common housefly. He said, what I have here is a vacuum tube. Now, what is your name? And the guy, Rudy or whatever. He goes,
Right.
okay, Rudy. Oh, didn't you also play football at Notre Dame? He says, come up
I
here, take this
like that.
fly. I want you to put it in the vacuum tube. So, he puts it in the vacuum tube. And he said, "Don't worry, I'm not going to remember any of your names tomorrow because we had a class of about, I think it was 75 in this auditorium,
Wow.
right? So, and it was like he said, I even have a seating chart, and I want you to take your same seats all the time, otherwise I will not be able to remember your names." And I said, I want to remember each and every one of your names, but just like the women I'm with, but it never happens that way. And he was like, we're all laughing, right? This guy's
Yeah.
funny. So then the kid takes the fly, puts it in the vacuum tube. He puts the cork on the vacuum tube. He
Hmm.
goes, now flip the switch. So he flips the switch. Yeah, it's sucking all the air out of the vacuum tube. And that fly exploded.
Oh
He
shit.
goes, so does nothing happen in a vacuum? No, flies explode in a vacuum. That sentence should say nothing survives in a vacuum.
Facts.
Right? And we were like, shit. He goes, you got to learn to read the text.
Mhm.
And he says, and this is not just with your textbook, this is with everything,
Yes.
because then you start going out to the reason why. You ever read a study, right? And you go, oh, really? Cigarettes are good for you? Oh, who funded the study?
Right. You gotta look at
Right?
those.
He said, soon there's going to be a thing you're going to have your computers, then you're going to be able to connect to information and you'll have access to information. Everybody will have this. And
Hmm.
this is years before the internet,
Ah,
right? And um, he said, you're going to have everybody, because their military had an internet, right?
did they?
They had the intranet. They were able to
Ah.
communicate, right? So they took basically the military internet and made it available to everybody and started expanding on it rapidly because they were realizing, oh shit, people are coming out and all this money is being made in the stock market. So everybody jumped on just like they're doing with AI.
Hmm.
And so and and so you'll be able to look stuff up like that.
You can.
Um, and we were all like, where is it? We want it now. He said,
Right?
you'll even get it, he said, what was it? He said, um, he even said like you'll have pocket devices and things like that can look at
There we
stuff. And
go. Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, how does this guy know this? Because he's probably looking at some of the data and the research in the scientific field,
Yeah.
some of the tech, right? So, but what he said, and then you'll realize that every decision made by every government, and certainly in the United States, boils down to one thing. And he put a big dollar sign on the board, And he goes, whenever you're wondering why are they doing this, it boils down to this. Why are we going to
Yes.
war? This. Why are we
Money.
going to this? This. Why are we
Money.
doing this? This.
Money.
And he says, every time, every single time. He goes, I worked for the USGS, US Geological Survey. He says, my job was to go in front of the Senate and tell them that the atomic blasting we're doing underground in Nevada is not hurting the Earth's crust. That was my job. I was told that's your job. So you need to put together a study, go in front of the Senate, and tell them that the Earth's crust is not being affected by these these megaton blasts under the ground.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, and he showed us a picture of him on the Senate floor with a huge ice sculpture of the United States, and he put an M80 in the ice sculpture in Nevada, or a firecracker or an M80, something like that, right?
Right.
So, and he lit it, and it went pop, and then the entire thing cracks all the way through the thing. It never collapsed. He said, I thought it was going to fall apart. It kind of failed me. I should have gotten a larger blast, but it was only a firecracker or something like that. Because he did
Right.
say M80 at first, and he said it was only a firecracker. But then he's like, and that's what I showed in the Senate hearing, and that's when I started shutting shit down, right? He said, but I got fired
Ah,
because my job was to show them that
show
it
them that.
wasn't
Yeah.
hurting the Earth's crust. And
Money,
but if you
money,
got to use your
money.
brain, you
Yeah.
got a megaton thing. So it was really wild. It's all a lie.
It's all a lie, man. It's Soylent Green, dude. We're the product. We're the ones being consumed, and it's like vertical integration from the jump, dude. It's wild.
Well, it's like, we would talk about the election and stuff. You'll hear me go back to this a lot because it's all a lie. It's all a fucking gaslit lie. And when people are, and all these other lies that come as a result of the lie, it's sort of like see, because I really don't think that the numbers were what they were in the elections. And there are a couple of independent agencies now doing these investigations and showing that there were, like, I think we discussed the bullet ballots,
Yep,
right?
we talked
And
about
you'll
that
hear
in the
me
last
talk about
episode.
this.
Yeah.
And why am I focused on this? Because right now we have right in front of right under our noses a real live coup happening, and nobody's
Seriously,
paying
man. No
attention,
one's paying
right?
attention to, and they're
And
happy that it's happening.
right, and some of them happy that it's happening.
Yeah.
But and then out of that lie, right, that it happened, then you see all these other articles saying like, oh, here's where the Democrats failed. They didn't fail, right? But you keep saying it. It's like when you stole 50,000 votes or whatever, because somewhere along the line the numbers were changed, some algorithms were changed. Remember, the courts gave the Trump group lawyers access to election computers,
That's wild.
and they were able to get a hard drive and to see whether or not there was anomalies done. But what happens when you have the hard drive? You have the iOS, you have all the
You can
workings
you
of
can
that.
make you can change the rules. You
You can
basically
change
make
the
a new
rules,
game.
and you got Elon Musk over there. And then why would the guy why would he say, thanks to Elon, he knows those computers better than anybody, those election computers, and we were able to win Pennsylvania in a landslide. Thank you, Elon. And
Yeah,
even federal prosecutors that are retired were going, that's a confession.
seriously.
Um, prosecutors don't make that assessment unless they have facts. Definitely, they never come out publicly. Well, one did, right? But there's not gonna be any investigation
No. And then
because
why
they
is it that
control the
Elon?
DOJ, they
Yeah,
control everything else.
like why is it that Elon's able to do everything? Like Trump apparently doesn't like kids being in the Oval Office, doesn't like any of this, and like literally Musk ran that press conference. Like it
Right,
was
like
Musk doing
he
it.
was king, right? And then
Yeah.
you also have all these other pundits that I respect that are on that I'm on their Substacks and everything like that, and
Uh-huh.
they're talking about oh, Trump is going to get tired of Elon, and my comment is it'll never happen because Elon has Trump over a barrel,
Yeah.
just like Putin has Trump over a barrel. I said because Elon helped him win the election. Elon could
Facts.
come out at any time and say, no, he didn't really win. We rigged
I
it.
paid for it.
And then
Because that's the only way we were gonna win.
the one thing that would just irk Trump till his grave is he's a loser. And Elon knows this. So Elon's going to do whatever the fuck he wants, and Trump is not going to check him
No.
because he's got him over a barrel. And there of course, it's a conspiracy theory. I have no proof,
Right.
right? But if we keep saying that, you have to, a hunch has to start something. You have a hypothesis, and then you have to investigate and prove that hypothesis. But, the Democrats are afraid even to say the hypothesis because we don't want to be like them. But
No.
we have more circumstantial evidence that points towards that. Like Trump has cheated in everything he's ever done. Everything he's ever done. And in elections, 2016, people went to prison for this. We had 2020, people went to
Prison,
prison for
yes.
this, lost their law licenses because of that. And it's like now we have 2024, and you're going
And
to
now
like
all of a sudden it's just okay. Like nothing happened.
he's going to be squeaky clean. You think that's going to happen? Doesn't even make sense.
Uh,
It walks like a duck and talks like a duck. It's a fucking
it's
duck,
a
right?
fucking duck, man.
And it's a duck that talks like this
It's
and uses a
not
lot of
even
his
a cool
hands.
duck.
Not even a cool duck. It's an orange duck. But
Fucking
dude,
baby Huey.
it's like, and yeah, I say to people that are like my son, he's a prosecutor in Virginia. He's like, Dad, you're like them. You're being like them. You're being like them. And I said, there's a psychological theory about being like them, and being locked into that. The
Like them
psychology.
how though? Saying that Trump is like what when he says them, what does he mean?
Um, like the Republicans, like the maggots who
Oh,
went and they
oh,
were
with them,
claiming
how they
election
were doing.
fraud,
Oh, okay, yeah,
and they
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
have any
yeah, yeah,
proof. They
yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
come up
yeah,
with
yeah,
any
yeah, yeah,
proof.
yeah. But we got proof.
But the idea is that now they're showing certainly the mathematical anomalies in the bullet ballots that they're usually about 1%,
Okay,
where bullet ballots are, just for those who are listening, like when you have when people just vote the top, vote the top of the ticket and nobody else.
right.
Right. So they run these numbers. Like, for example, if we have in Nevada, they had a presidential candidate running. Of course, it was Trump and Harris at the top of the ticket. Stein, fuck that bitch. But then you have the legislators, the Senate running, right? And
Right.
so they say the percentage of people that voted for the top of the ticket and nobody else. And so normally you have 5.5% bullet ballots, 1% bullet ballots, and that's pretty high.
Yeah.
And in 2016, Trump was 5% bullet ballots, which is high, right?
Right.
Normally 1% is pretty high, right? 0.5 is about right. So 1% is about that's high. And then it's like but in 5% is really high. So Trump in 2016 in Nevada, they couldn't compare that to 2020 because there was no Senate candidate that was running to hold it against. Like a Trump top Senate candidate is here, and it's
Mhm.
like Senate candidate is not voted for. So say 5% in 2016 were bullet ballots. So
Okay.
5% bullet ballot. In 2024, 10%
What?
were bullet
Damn.
ballots.
That's
And that's an anomaly.
that's
That's
an
like
anomaly
it
like a
doubled
mofo.
it doubled from 2020.
Jesus.
So
Jesus.
they were like, that's a pretty wild swing. And so they go, that's a real serious anomaly. And so um, so it's like in psychology, they call it like it's a Freudian theory, projection and repression, and there's distancing from differentiation, as
Mm.
like because they want to be different.
Right.
But a lot of times when you're saying that, when you want to define yourself by saying we're not going to be like them, um, then what you do is you get involved in a veil that blinds you from actually looking at the truth,
The whole thing, the whole
because you
picture.
you're so blinded by I don't want to be like them that you don't even look at the data. And even I'm talking to my friends who are some pretty smart guys. One's guy in D.C. His dad was an attorney at Watergate.
Oh wow.
He's been an intern with Congress. He was involved with helping with the Harris campaign and all that. He doesn't believe there was fraud. And he's like, show me some evidence It's like until then, it's all a conspiracy theory. And that's the way he said, we don't want to be like them. And I was like, see, you're locked into that. You don't want to see because you don't want to be like them. But it doesn't matter anymore. We're stuck. We're going to be stuck
We're
with this
stuck with
shit.
this shit, man.
And it's going to be a war against the consumer,
We're gonna
the
oh
person.
my God, it's gonna be such a war against the consumer. So wild, so
So,
wild.
but anyway, influencers. And now, since we're talking about conspiracy theories and we're wearing our tinfoil hats,
Yeah,
we
let's
should
put them back
actually
on.
have them made and put
We
and
should,
we open up the
have this
we
segment where we
open it up, and be like, you see where we're going today, don't you?
I love that.
And then then you'll start seeing that, like I got an armory that's being developed in the back there. Like every time there's a new gun being added, it's like
Love that shit,
you'll see
bro.
at one point that I go there and I start going down these stairs, like, and it's like I'm going into my bunker, and it'll be dug right here underneath in my
Underneath
office,
your
so I don't have
right
to go
there.
far. Right, I have
Nope.
everything I need. I
Got
got
your
my
trap door
laptop.
right there.
I got the trap door. I got so, and it's like, and this is not just for for the baddies. This is going to be for my ex-wife, right? Soon to be ex-wife.
Soon to be. Yeah. You got to be quicker on that one.
I'm actually saying that a lot more openly than I'm saying I'm turning 62 this year. Like some women are more willing to give you their weight than their age. Like I'm
Yo, I got an ex-wife.
my second one, right? So,
Oh shit, dude.
but it's I'm actually excited about it, you know.
Yeah. Well,
And
all
I'm
my good.
yeah,
What
it's
you gonna
not,
say?
some people say, "Oh, you're covering something." Not really. It's been going on for so long, right? When you've been kicked out of the bedroom like 8 years ago, 10 years, well,
Yeah,
9 years ago,
because of your snoring.
because of my snoring. And it's like, and I didn't mind. I get it. She gets up early. She's got to fly. But at the same time, it's like, it's you realize that I was reading an article by a psychologist, like, and the psychologist pointed to, well, you kicked him out of the bedroom. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
There's a, and it's like I tell people, uh, it's logic. It's logic. It's logic. It's just logic. You gotta, I got a divorce because of logic,
Hmm.
and people are like, what do you mean? So eventually, like when she was not having sex with me, it's just logic that would say I'm going to find it somewhere else,
Yeah.
and it's like not only logic, it's biologic because
Biologic. I like that shit.
biologically, human being needs that touch. Human
Ugh.
beings need that connection. Human
Yes.
beings need sex. So it's like
Yes.
biologically, so it's logic, biologic. So can't argue with that. But it did influence my approach towards like Valentine's Day. By the way, how was your Valentine's Day, man?
I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I celebrate Single Awareness Day.
Single Awareness Day.
Yeah, I did. Be sad. That's what I posted.
So is that a thing? Is that a thing?
Yeah, Single Awareness Day is a thing. If you like Google Single Awareness Day, it'll pop up. And then like I posted a video or I did my whole rant about like being modally attractive that got some likes on the IG. And then like how you can put your notes in on IG. I put happy sad and then in parentheses I put Single Awareness Day. And I had all these people freaking putting a happy Valentine's Day in my thing. And I'm like, I don't sell like I'm single, man. I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. But besides, dude, like I'm on that whole like Valentine's Day is just it's a consumer holiday. It's a consumerism. It's all fucking consumerism. Like
Right.
why do you need February 14th to tell somebody you love them? You love them every day. Why do you need
Precisely. Agreed.
and then fucking to wait 5 hours, 2 hours just to go fucking eat overpriced dinner because they're fucking marking everything up because it's Valentine's Day.
Dude, you know what I did? You know what I did?
What?
I actually had this I had a date on Valentine's Day,
Nice.
I think you know who it is. Like, but it was great. And what the thing was here's the thing. It's like um but I actually inspired a piece, right? So
uh,
I said, basically, I said, what do you want to do on Valentine's Day? Now I got a lot going on right now, right?
yes.
And she said, that's the man's job to determine that. That's the man's job to set everything up. And I was
All
like,
this equalism,
oh,
but then it
yeah.
still calls back on us.
There's no equalism in this relationship. It's all give on my side. But on the same time, she's hot. So it's like,
Right? So you gotta do what you gotta do.
got to do what you got to do. It's like you got to earn that. And I get it. And I have no problem with that. I mean, there's mutual affection and love going on there, but
Yeah.
it's still like, I don't mind being the provider. It actually inspires me,
Yeah.
right? It inspires me because I like to care for. It
Uh-huh.
turns out I really, really thrive and really, really like desire to care for somebody.
Yeah.
And not that they need to be reliant on me, but to care for
Yeah.
somebody.
So provider. It's in our DNA as men.
Right. Yeah. So sure. Right. Nurture and care for somebody. So I enjoy that part of it. But
Hmm.
at the same time, as a comedian, it gives me a chance to do it. So I wrote my rant called Valentine's Day, Love, Capitalism, and the Art of Failure.
I like
Uh,
that. I like the
so
title.
it's like, yeah, Valentine's Day, that one special day where we take our relationships, our fragile, complex, deeply personal bonds, and jam them through the industrial meat grinder of mandatory romance.
Mm.
Nothing says I love you like performative affection dictated by a dozen dweebs in a marketing department.
Yes.
Right? It's
Yes.
like I see the greeting card companies, the florists, the chocolatiers, the restaurateurs, all got and all like chocolatiers, restaurateurs, right?
Chocolatiers.
All got together like a cartel of emotional loan sharks and figured out how to turn love, something priceless, into a transaction. They turn I love you into we take Visa.
Ah, I like
Love is
that.
no longer measured in loyalty, laughter, or shared affection. No, love is measured in the market value of whatever mass-produced, shrink-wrapped, sweatshop-assembled, faux sentimental, landfill-destined, artificially scented, anxiety-inducing garbage that you managed to panic buy the night before.
Let's go.
And it's a fucking piece of paper, man. A piece of paper with a picture on it and a font that was printed on an inkjet printer. You have to pay $10 for that card. And it's like for a piece of fucking paper. I just give her a post-it note with a
Post-it
heart
note.
drawn on it. Here's an emoji written by my pen. How about that? And
Ah,
here's the
shit.
real con. The expectation is built for failure. Think about this, right? Remember we're talking about writing jokes and poke it from all sides, who, what, where,
Yes,
why,
yes,
when, and
yes,
how.
yes,
So it's
yes.
like the expectation is built for failure. Let's start with the basics. You're told, no, commanded to express your love on February 14th or else. The stakes, the very foundation of your relationship. Think about it for a second. I mean, love, this intricate, loving, breathing, very sensitive thing can be revoked because you didn't buy the right mass-produced dead flowers or
Mm,
multiple confectionery on a frilly pink box. And if you do
yes,
nothing, oh my God, you
yes.
monstrous, loveless degenerate. You failed to make a big enough ritual sacrifice to the gods of commercial romance. Your celebration is suddenly in your relationship is suddenly in jeopardy. Did you forget? Did you not care enough? Even if your partner says they don't care, that's a test, man. That's a minefield. That's like a good luck navigating that conversation. You might as well try to disarm a fucking bomb with a pair of Bernie Sanders inaugural mittens, right? The whole
Love
thing
that
is rigged. It's a doomed
specificity.
fucking extortion. It's like you even
Yes.
if you play your part, the script is written in such a way that you almost always screw up. Dinner reservations, not at the right time, right?
Didn't pick the
How,
right
how come
restaurant.
you did so late? The flowers are predictable. The gift. Oh, really? It's like I saw these at Trader Joe's. The gift is uninspired. You can't win. Really? This is a me gift, not a we. This is a we gift, not a me gift. Let's not forget the invisible victims of this holiday. Right there, you're looking at them, ladies and gentlemen, the single people. Because if
Yes.
you're alone on Valentine's Day, oh no, capitalism is here to remind you every fucking day, man. Like
Yes.
right after Christmas, it's like every storefront, every ad, every stupid commercial with a couple feeding each other chocolate-covered strawberries is a glowing neon sign screaming, "You're a failure." Yeah, take more dick pics. And it's not happening, chump, right? Even the language of Valentine's Day is pathologically insane. Think of it, it's pathological. It's really pathological. Be mine.
Be mine.
Be mine. Mine?
Seriously.
What the fuck is this, right? Mine? A
Very
declaration of love or
narcissistic.
an application for property rights? Oh shit. I mean, and as a black man, you should feel really sensitive about this
Right. Yeah,
bullshit,
I'm
right?
not.
Now,
I am a
all of
human.
us, all
How bad
Americans
is
with
this?
Trump should feel very particularly incensed about this. Be mine.
Be
They're
mine.
mine. They're my followers. They love me.
Jesus.
They'll do what I tell them. Let's not let's not, forget the let's continue to mutually love each other and choose each other. No, you're owned. Love reduced to Hallmark endorsed hostage situation. Don't even get me
Hallmark.
started on the corporate monopoly on romance. Like, oh
Oh
my
my God.
God, soulless mega corporations that sell you canned soup, laundry detergent, and Desitin for your foot fungus are now the arbiters of human connection. You ever notice that every diamond commercial sounds like it was written by a psychopath? Show her you love her with a diamond. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, buddy, because nothing says eternal devotion like a rock you had to finance for 5 years. It's a scam, people. It's a tender candlelit dopamine fueled shakedown. You shouldn't need a designation to say I love you. That's another you said that, right?
Yes.
So that's like,
Yes.
if you do, your relationship is already a dumpster fire, and no $4 sign dinner with molten chocolate souffle is going to haul you out of that fire. Don't worry. Next month is St. Patrick's Day. That's when we get to celebrate alcoholism. Peace. So I did that, the
I
best
like
version
that,
of it I
bro.
could
I like that. You
at a
did it at the fourth
club.
wall?
Yeah, and it was like, I was doing it by memory. So
Uh-huh.
it was cathartic. And now I know how Burr feels. Like I had this written piece and I had no way I was going to memorize it.
Uh-huh.
So I had these ideas, and I was like, let me take this and go for it, and it went pretty well.
That's
It went pretty
good,
well,
man.
but everybody was cheering at the halfway through, so I had to really pause because it was like it was all emotion driven.
Uh,
Because I'm sure part of it from the divorce, because it was right after I hate you. I fucking hate you.
it's like,
Nobody's ever said those words to me except for maybe no, even kids. My kids never said that to me because when they were getting frustrated, they go, "Tell me what's going on right now. Tell me what's going on there."
not even any woman that you dated, like not even like married or anything, but dated. They never said,
Gwen,
I hate
Gwen,
you.
Gwen,
Okay.
Gwen. Well,
Okay.
Jerry
That's the
never
baby's
said,
mama, though, right? That's the baby mama,
yeah,
Gwen?
baby mama.
Okay.
Like Gwen said it because Gwen did it for the same reason because I caught her,
Mm.
you know.
You got great catching these, catching them in their own lives, Jerry.
Yeah, catch them in their lives. Catch her in their lives. And then with Jerry, Jerry never said I hate you. Gwen said it at a Starbucks. Because she gives me this report that was done by a school psychologist, and it said Natalie has autism. I said the report says it, and I read the report, and I said, but Gwen, the it doesn't say she has autism. It says that this is an early assessment, but this must be diagnosed
Yeah.
a clinical psychologist,
Yeah.
and she was like, so it said it doesn't say she has it. It said it has to be diagnosed. So I said, this is a careful, you got to read the text,
Read the text. Call
right?
back.
And so no, it says it. I said, but it doesn't. We should go get her tested. She doesn't need any more of this testing, right? And so she goes, I go, but then we can't say she has autism until we get her tested and she's clinically diagnosed. And she was, fuck you, I hate you. No, fuck you, motherfucker. She never said I hate you. She
Oh,
never said I hate
fuck
you.
you, motherfucker.
In Starbucks. And I go, but the paper says it, not me. It's right here in black and white. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Read the text.
Don't, don't you want your coffee? I want your coffee.
Shit. Damn, she
And
walked out on the coffee.
everybody's looking at me at the Starbucks going, and dude was like, well, that was a cool way to handle that, dude. I said, my problem is I'm a comedian and I treat my ex-spouses or my significant others like hecklers, and I shouldn't do that, you know.
I like that, though.
And it's like I really shouldn't,
I
but
have my
I can't help
filter
it.
comes through. I wish like sometimes I want to, but my filter comes through, and it's just and like another thing for me is like I remember this. I remember this like it was 2011, and we had just had Kingston. We weren't together yet, but I knew eventually it was going to happen. And like there's like write down your goals, write down your goals. A majority of every goal I've written down has like come true. And one of the goals,
I love it when you have you're now correcting your syntax.
yes.
This is really great. It's like I'm written
I've
down,
written
right?
down. Every goal I've written down has basically come true. And one of the goals I written down was that if it doesn't work out between me and Sin, then at least we can be good co-parenting. Like I want to be able to co-parent.
What did you call her? Sin?
I call her Sin.
Oh shit, what a name, huh? Is
right?
she is it's like it's like I know she's not, but it sounds like a stripper name.
Not at all. And so like that's always in the back of my mind because it's like sometimes I just want to like just be a total fucking dick asshole and all that. But it's but does that is that gonna help me reach that goal or is that gonna help me not get into that goal? So that filter always goes. I'm always going through
So
that filter.
state that filter in a Dr. Wayne Dyer aphorism, like
Hmm.
how something we might be able to repeat and use. What is that? How would you explain that filter? Don't, or when you feel like leaning in towards proving them wrong, maybe sometimes that's not whatever. What is the what? How would you phrase that?
That's
So it's
uh
like you put it on a t-shirt.
when you feel like when you feel like proving people right, you always got to remember like what's the end game, like what are you wanting to get out of the end, like what's your ultimate goal, you know, like I guess I don't
Ultimate goal,
your
not
ultimate
just
goal minimum
micro goal,
goal,
but
end
ultimate
like the
goal.
end game goal, like what is it that you want, what do you want to see at the end game? And like my end game is that I want to be able to like I want to be civil. Like my ultimate thing is like I heard about this with Wayne Brady. Like Wayne Brady and his ex, they're neighbors, and then like they like the kids just go back and forth to the houses and all that shit. And I was like, yo, dude, like that's something that I want. Like I want to be able to be friends with her and like be civil and be cool. Whoever she wants to be with, that do want to be with her, God help him. But yo, make it happen. And like if and whoever I've decided to be with, which I don't think I'm just probably just gonna be single for the rest of my life. It is what it is, but I still want to be chill and cool. That way, there's none of this like because that's the last thing I want. Like I don't want
Yeah.
that. Like
Yeah,
my
it creates this dis-ease. It's like,
yeah,
at a molecular level, it fucks with your interior with
fucks
all
with the
that
kids and shit
negative,
too.
angry energy. It's not good energy, man. So yeah, I
Mm,
like that. The overall goal.
the overall goal.
Same thing with my kids. My overall goal is I want them to thrive. I want them to become their own individuals. So, you even if you don't like if like when they're going through certain behaviors and certain changes, a lot of parents try to tamp that down and strangle that off. And it's like, no, dude, you gotta ask them questions. You gotta have them communicate what's going on, what's happening, and support them in their journey to find who they are, right? Because ultimately they're going to do it with or without you, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
just what happens. They do it with or without you, and it's like you can't fight that shit. And so you show that you're there as a supportive person. You
mm-hmm.
explain what the parameters are for and why you've established certain parameters and how they're going to benefit them in the long run. You might not feel they do it now, but there has to be some parameters. So when are in real life, you see that those parameters are there for a reason and you respect those parameters, whether you're in a job or you're in school. Schools have certain
Yeah.
rules. And yet there are times you want to be able to break those rules, like having a civil protest. I support that shit. My kids wanted to do a school walkout because of ICE showing up to their school,
Oh, I showed up to the school.
and their principal
Damn.
went into hiding, and he's got papers, but they've
Wow.
been sending people out who don't have papers. And so he's here legitimately. He's a citizen, but he was part of being an anchor baby. And the way their policy isn't specific.
Uh,
There's not detailed, and they're not sticking to their guns. They deported that woman who was a Trump supporter at his rally, was up at the podium with him cheering about Venezuelans for Trump. They deported that bitch. Like, it's
the
like, yeah,
irony, man,
and
is
I say that
rich.
because you're too stupid to see this motherfucker doesn't like you.
Yes.
He's got a history hating people of color. And it's like,
Yes.
and you supporting that? What the heck is going on here? And I guess maybe that's somebody who says, well, I don't see color. I just see he does my policies. What policies? What policies does he do? Getting rid of illegal immigrants or just immigrants in general? He doesn't care if they're illegal or not. If it was up to him, he'd get rid of everybody of color. And it's like, and
Yeah.
start importing Norwegians. you know,
Norwegians and Swedes, or
right?
they're probably the same thing. And then try to get Greenland people over here.
Right. And he wants to buy. What the hell's going on? And I think all of that. One of the guys one of my students is he's a Palestinian, very successful businessman, nice guy too, and we have great conversations. He's funny. He's got good comedic instincts, and so he's successful. Got 5 kids. He says, a good Palestinian family. He's like, because he's got kids, build the family.
Yeah.
He's very family oriented. Like if his kid comes in during the thing, he puts him, he doesn't chase her away, puts him on the lap, and then says,
Go
Dad,
away. Doesn't yell at him like I do. Damn it, kids!
right, I'm doing the podcast. And of course,
Come on.
because you're doing the podcast, they're like, oh, Daddy's not paying attention to us. It hyper focuses that, so they really come in during that. But he said, my grandfather, and that's a picture of him back there, a very wise man. And he says, when there's noise and commotion over there, and everybody's running towards that commotion, go the other way. Because that's where they want you to go.
Yeah.
And it's like in Palestine, this last war, that's what happened, right? They told them where to go. They all went there and they blew it up. And it said, and over now, he said, so what's happening now is they're telling us all this stuff. I want to buy Greenland. We're going to get in a fight with Panama. We're going to go disrespect Colombia and all this stuff over here. In the meantime, they got Elon Musk showing up to the Treasury with his henchmen and other kids who aren't on government contracts, accessing government computers
wearing
without
shorts,
not with no security clearances. No
with a
bonding,
laser in the fucking shorts, dude.
no
Like, come
security, and they're in our fucking Treasury Department computers.
on. Yeah.
And that's bullshit, man. We don't know what they did and what they're going to leave behind.
Exactly.
What bugs they're going to leave behind. They're fucked everything up. You got to start from scratch. It's like otherwise you're going to be fucked forever in this. This is like we're in a weird place, the weirdest place ever we've been in. People do that's too overwhelming. I don't know what to do with it.
And that's the whole point. That's what they wanted. Like the right was always talking about how it's very Orwellian or however you say it, and like how like the Democrats are trying to make things like 1984 when it's really them that's turning everything into 1984. Like it's just
right.
Oh
And you
God.
look at so let's go back to that the influencer podcaster thing
Yeah.
because look, I mean lots of people including comedians, this is a big deal for comedians because comedians have the power in their little phones, right, to
Yep.
do fucking great things.
Yeah.
And it's like consistency. One of the people they were talking about was Seth Phillips. He basically has 8 million followers on Instagram and he just puts witty messages on up all the time, right?
Mhm.
So, and it's like, so start duplicating, start doing your own versions of that. And I bet you we go in there, those witty messages, and it's like, if we looked it up on Instagram, what are those witty messages? Like, Seth Phillips, Instagram, and they put the guy with the most followers right at
Followers
the
on
top,
top.
right?
Oh, you gotta fucking so Zuck pulled the same card that Musk pulled. If you want a blue check mark on Instagram, you got to pay a $14.99 subscription.
Oh, Zuck had it, I think, before I don't know who had it first.
I think Musk because it was because before on Instagram, I never had got told anything about getting a blue check. Right, it was just whatever. I know on X Twitter you had to fucking pay to get the blue check. Then I just a week ago, because I'm trying to put more stuff out on IG, I got a little thing saying if I want a blue check, I can subscribe for $14.99 a month and I'll get a blue check. So now I got a blue check next to my name. It's funny though, because I am getting more views. Like I posted my top 10 reasons for the people who thought Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was bad. I posted that. This is the first time I've ever gotten over like 1,000 views on one of my videos. So that was pretty cool. Like, because I usually don't get that many views on my videos. So that was dope. I got called a racist on fucking TikTok because I posted.
What did you post?
I posted one where it's all like people who think Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance are bad are the same type of people that walk around barefoot everywhere, especially in the gas stations, acting like they're goddamn hobbits. And somebody said, found the racist. And I'm like, How's that fucking
That's not
racist, bro?
racist. Fuck off, bitch. You don't understand history. Hey, get a fucking history book, jerk off. You know, get a history book, Cletus.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, oh my God, your people put my people into slavery, and I make
And I'm the racist because I'm
one
calling.
joke about a barefoot like guy at a gas station, and I'm the racist. Fuck off. It's like, you know what? It's like when people say, "Oh yeah, the priest fucking little boys." Oh, we should stop doing jokes about that. I tell you what, stop fucking little boys,
Wait,
and we'll stop with the
seriously.
jokes. I mean, art imitates life.
Ah, Jesus, man, this shit's wild. It's wild. But
Is that
even
and they do that, but it's like, oh, you're right. So I think you're right that Muck. Let's just call
Zuck,
him Muck
you might as well call
because
him
that's what
Muck.
he is, right? He's a
He's a
fucking
fucking
ass
muck.
kisser. How do you breathe with your nose way up there like that?
Oh my god, can't believe that motherfucker paid 25 bill. That's
So it's
wild.
$15 a month
Mm-hmm.
to verify your identity and get a blue check, tapping into a new revenue channel like you weren't making enough money. Good God, everywhere
Right?
we turn, you sell our data.
Dude, for
That's
real,
that's
for
the
real.
trade. That's the trade. Now I have to pay you to sell my data. See,
Oh man.
that's when we need somebody like what's his name? I'm always going to identify with him with the Mavericks, even though he sold it.
Oh, Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. That's why we need somebody like Mark Cuban to start that. Start the. He says he's ready to invest in anybody who wants to do a TikTok like thing on the Blue Sky API. So if he does that, that'd be great because at least he's legit, right? He
Yes.
understands. He's like creating a thing for healthcare for prescription drugs. So to make it more affordable, he gets it, right? So being on the side of the consumer gives you longevity. In the long run, you make good money over a long period of time by providing value to your consumers. These guys just want to try to fuck you any way they can
Mm-hmm.
because the trade was the reason why Google, Meta, or Facebook, all of that stuff was free is because they were selling your data. That was the trade, right? So you put your info in there. Are you married? Oh, what's your salary if you want to fill out your entire profile so they know exactly where you fit and so they can market you. People make over 50,000 a year, right? They want to, so it's like people who are married, people who live in, when you have to put in your address, they know the zip code you live in and how much that real estate is. So they know you live in a high end area. They can target what are your habits? What are your hobbies? What do you like? What music do you like? And you're like, I like to listen to, and people are like, oh, okay, now we're zeroing in on a profile about who you are and we know exactly how to market you now. And people don't realize they're just we're it's our Facebook. We're just showing what our likes and dislikes and giving away all this data so they can do that for you and to you. And it's like that's what they do. And it's like that's the scary part. So
Can you
yeah,
see
man.
the screen? Is this the Seth Phillips you're talking about with
Yeah,
dude
let
with
me
sign?
see. Seth Phillips. How many followers does he have?
7.7 million or 7.7 mil, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he's got near 8 million subscribers. So that's the guy, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like he gets out there and he puts up signs too, right?
Yep.
Your boss knows you're not sick today. And it looks like what he does is basically, I don't know whether those signs have, or really have any writing on them, or maybe he just does these poses and then puts writing on these signs.
Ah,
I don't know
interesting.
if that's what he's doing, but if he is writing on these signs, because it's like, what is he writing with? Right? Because think about it. In order to get this sign to be legible from this distance in a camera, what are you writing with?
Yeah.
You think about it. There's no marker that writes like that, right? So what
Nah.
marker is he using? So what I think he's doing is holding up a blank thing, and then he's basically writing on it afterwards.
That makes sense. Kind of like what they did with that Kanye meme where Kanye is holding up the yellow pad and then you can write on there and make your own meme of what you think or caption however you want to caption it as. Man, talk about like that dude on another tangent. Bro, he sold freaking shirts with fucking swastikas on there. and it's like he doesn't think anything's gonna happen to him with that. And now apparently him and Bianca's, I'll call her censored because she's basically censored now. They're getting a divorce apparently. Like,
Yeah, he
bro,
humiliated her.
dude,
So in public,
Jesus.
he wants to look like he's basically this is my bitch, she's
Yeah.
my. He's basically he did everything short of putting a fucking leash on
Leash on
her,
her.
which I bet you that was a discussion, and that's where she drew the line. And then she got humiliated in public because you saw those pictures, how reluctant she was to do
She
that,
doesn't
be
really want to do
exposed.
that. Yeah, she didn't want to take it off. Like, yeah.
And he just now humiliated his girl, and now she wants out. Oh, surprise! So anyway, those influencers, but look at what the guy's doing. So he runs a theme, right?
Yeah.
He's holding up these cards, Valentine's Day. He says he stands in front of an expensive restaurant, Nobu or wherever it is, and then he says your girlfriend expects you to have Valentine's reservations by now. And it's like, so people see that and they go, oh shit, pick up the phone or tap into table, whatever that table service app is. And because nobody wants to talk to anybody anymore. But here's what I did. Now, where I got reservations was at a restaurant I love, and it's very
Hmm.
popular. It's on Beverly Boulevard. It's called Della Terra.
Okay.
Now, Della Terra, what I love about they hand make their pasta, right? And they cook it al dente, and it's
Fancy.
like it's really, really good. And the prices are like, if you saw it on Google, it'd be like 30 to 50 per plate.
Hmm.
So it's not astronomical, but it's not Applebee's. And Applebee's. That's funny. I hit the punchline and you were right in the middle of being interrupted by your kid.
Yeah.
That's so funny. It's
It's
like
not
somebody
Applebee's.
sneezes on your punchline. It's done. The joke is gone. Let it go, Cherry.
Just let it go.
But we've been there before. The bartender's nice. I love their bar because it goes bar level to ceiling
Oh,
with
damn.
all the different types of, and they're all tiered. Like the higher up they are, the more, except for, you have all the high end tequilas right there, right?
Hmm.
And it's like that's $80 a shot for some of that tequila. And but the food is great, and they have a brick oven, pizza oven. So the guys making in a little corner, they're making pizza and then sliding into that little fired up. There's wood burning. It's wood. It's a wood, brick oven. It's delicious, right? So the pizza's great. There he is. Hey, now? Which
Why are
one?
you trying to hit me, Coda?
Oh, this is Coda.
You want the wheat thins? Okay, well, just hold on, dude. Let me go
He's
get
like,
these kids
he's
wheat
like,
thins.
Dad, who's that bald white guy?
He knows you by name, bro. He's all
Yeah,
like, because anytime I'm watching the videos, he's all, "Oh, is that Jerry?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's Jerry." Yeah, I gave him his wheat thins. Dude, I went to Stater Brothers. I'll let you get back to the story, but I went to Stater Brothers yesterday because I figured maybe that'll be cheaper than freaking Ralph's. Even Stater Brothers is expensive right now, man. It's like, gee,
well, they're doing what they're doing. They're trying to fuck with us. And
supply and demand.
it's basically everybody's jumping on the bandwagon as look how much money we're making. And that's what's happening. So I gotta find shit.
But you're at the restaurant.
Yeah, so at the restaurant, and so anyway, we like this place. And I went to make reservations on Google.
Hmm.
And it basically said there was nothing available till 10 p.m. Right. So I was like, nothing available till 10 p.m. And I'm like, all right, this is not going to go over well.
How late is the
Uh,
restaurant open till?
Midnight
Okay.
on Valentine's Day. So, in the
What's
middle of,
having a late ass fucking dinner?
yeah, yeah. But, look at typically
God damn.
we get out to dinner. By the time we get out, it's 8:39 anyway.
Okay.
Right? So it's like after I finish up at home, making the kids dinner, I go
Okay. Yeah.
and then we got to drive to Hollywood, so it's 30 minutes away.
Yeah,
So
that
we
makes
get there, and
sense.
it's like, so I said, however, I said we're fine. We can get there at 9. There'll be a table.
Uh-huh.
And she goes, how do you know? I said, because the economy. I checked it out, and retail spending is down. It plummeted last month. So people are holding back in their wallets. There's going to be some empty tables. People aren't going to show,
Uh-huh.
right? And she goes, "Oh, how do you know this?" I go, "I just know." And we got there, and the lady says, "You have a reservation?" And I said, I slipped her a 20. I go, you got some tables available? And she's like, yes, we do, sir, right this way.
Aha! Let's
So
go.
so it's
Money
like
talks.
and she was like so we got seated right away, man. And it was like you know, that's how you that's how you do that stuff. And and I looked in and I saw a lot of empty tables.
Hmm.
And I was like, not a lot of empty tables, but enough to where
Enough
you
to
can
where,
eyeball it and go, there's some empty tables here, right? And plus the bar was there were three seats available at the bar, and the bar is set up for you to eat there too, right? Everything's there. And I was
hmm,
like, we like eating at the bar too because you're right there. You don't have to wait for a drink. The bartender's
right.
right there. And it's like weren't drinking much. We had one drink each. That's
Okay.
how one drink each. That's what we do now, right?
That's good.
Now I actually had two Tito's and tonics. That's what I do, and it throws everybody off when I say tonic.
Yeah. Tito's
All
and
right,
tonic.
they always come back with soda, and I go, you know what? You could leave that, and I'll take the tonic too.
Tonic.
But I like the sugar in the tonic. I always liked tonic water. Even as a kid, I used to drink quinine. They call it quinine back in the day, right?
Did you the New York seltzers? Dude, I love those, man. Those
Yes,
are so
yes.
good. Those are
We
so
do
good.
the seltzer bottles and all that stuff.
Yes. They fucking like premium freaking those things for such a tiny ass bottle, man. They cost so much fucking money, dog. It's ridiculous.
So part of the Valentine's Day thing was like was talking about so part of the Valentine's Day thing was also talking about but don't worry so here's the real Valentine's Day joke. If love actually needed a deadline, a transaction, a pink trench guilt trip to survive, then it was already dead in the first place. Right? It's like if you make it impossible, and I said, ladies, you make it impossible for us to love you. I'm in a relationship where I pay the bills, pay the rent, food, utilities, healthcare, clothes, gifts. I drive everywhere because she doesn't drive. So the day before Valentine's Day, I say, what do you want to do for Valentine's Day? And she's like, that's the man's job. It's like, wow. And if I dare ask, what is your contribution to the relationship? She'll
You
say,
get
don't
the
be rude.
slaps. Yeah, right?
Yeah, don't be rude. There's no reason for you to be rude.
Why are you being an
It's
asshole?
like, and ladies, and I go, ladies, so many of you, and I don't want to make it generally about ladies, but in my experience,
It has
ladies have been
been.
involved with have this passive aggressive way of communicating. And it's like, ladies, so many of you communicate in a passive aggressive way. Like if they say, we can stay home tonight if you want, that means
Take
I
me
want to
out,
go out to
motherfucker.
eat.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And it's like, and then the problem becomes where you should eat. And if you say, what do you want to eat? And they say, well, we had sushi earlier in the week. What that means is anything but sushi and anything else I don't want to eat. But they
For
never
real, fool.
really share with you what they
They
want to
want to
eat.
eat. And then there's a fight over that shit.
So I remember one time, even Lauren did this. She goes, "Well, she goes, I ordered, but the restaurant doesn't deliver, and Delaney has a headache. So if you're going to be around, to watch Delaney while I go pick it up, then what she's saying is, would you go pick up the food?
Basically. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
that's
always talk
basically what's
around it. Just
right. They
fucking
talk
say
around
it.
it. They don't
Yeah.
fucking say it.
Uh.
It's that's the thing. It's like learn to say that. And so one of the things they got to do is like when you're writing this stuff, you have to remember exactly what they said because it's so nuanced that if you go to say it later, the audience won't recognize it as passive aggressive. You know,
Yes.
um, she goes like the other night, it's pouring rain. My girl says, "I'm not going to ask you to come see me tonight. It's pouring rain. It's dangerous." So my head's like, thank God, right? Because it's like, it's like, and it's I can drive in the rain, but it's like, it's just like it's pouring, right? And
Right.
then she writes, but I really, really miss you. You know what that is,
You know what that is? You
right? You know
better
what that
show up.
is. That's like
Show
you better
up.
show up. So it's like, so what that means is if you don't show up, you don't love her. And if you do show up and you're 15 minutes late because of the rain, you don't love her. And if you do show up in your own and you're on time, she's really happy to see you, but she's not happy to see you like you risked your life to come see me happy. She's just happy. Oh, I'm so glad you came. But it's not like, oh my God,
Underappreciation,
you
bro.
fucking
Yes.
risked your life. I've gotta deep throat you now. My God, that's you risked your life to be here. They don't do that. They're
No,
just like, oh, so you made it,
made it.
right?
Thanks.
There
Now rub
should
my
be
feet.
some sort of reciprocation. So in that I had my
I
angle.
like
It's
that.
it's cynical right now.
I
So it's like in
like
this
that.
case, I was like, my daughter heard me say the words, "I fell in love head over heels," and she said, "Daddy, how come they don't say heels over head?" I said, "That comes later." So in this, just doing a little exercise, something for you to do while you're having coffee next time.
Yeah.
It's like look for specific, what I say, single subject idioms. And then basically you can have ChatGPT generate a bunch of idioms for you. In this
Mhm.
case, like idioms dealing with love idioms. So, and then you basically take them, you start going through them and sort of like break them down, like love at first sight. Is that like it's like when a puppy opens his eyes, or the head over heels is one of them. Love at first sight. It's like supposed to mean instant connection, romantic connection. What that is my dick got hard. Uh, like my balls tingled when I looked at her. I thought about having sex with her, so my brain believes I'm in love. No, it's not love. It's just lust.
It's just
It's
lust,
another
yeah.
four-letter word.
My
Like
heart skips a beat.
if that happened, you stay around often enough, I'm gonna die, basically.
Right? Get a
You're gonna kill
defibrillator.
me. I love this one. Tie the knot.
Oh God.
Oh my God, that's captivity right away. Isn't that what that's in all caps captivity?
Like some fucking BDSM.
Right? Yeah, tie the knot. That's what getting married is. They call it tying the
Tie the
knot.
knot. Yes.
So why don't you just call
I
it
want to untie the knot
you
now.
know, why don't you just call it blindfold me? Um,
Just gag me, please.
yeah, just kill me.
Oh, Jesus.
Falling for someone or falling in love.
Yes.
Shouldn't they just call it stepping in love? Because that's kind of what we do.
Yes.
Puppy love. Why
I'd
do they
rather
call it
step in
pup?
shit than step in
Yeah,
love.
exactly. Why do they call it puppy love?
Dude,
Because
seriously.
it's like they chose an animal. It's like because I guess child love did not work right.
It was only the child love's only for the priest.
Yeah,
So
it's only for the priest.
puppy
You
love is
shouldn't
the
make fun of that.
bestiality.
You should stop making fun of that. Like billions of dollars in settlements, and we're
Oh
the
my
bad guys on that
gosh.
one. So it's like have a crush on someone, like steal someone's heart. It's all like there's a lot of just really deceit
A lot
built
of deceit
right
built into this.
into
Yes.
like
The
steal
brutal
someone's
truth
heart.
of all this. Yes, I like
I
that.
might as well say cheat on somebody. But enough of trying to give myself permission.
My cousin asked me, did I get intimate yesterday? And I was like, yeah, I got intimate with my hand.
Yeah, you might be better off.
Sometimes, bro.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
you're
man.
like at least
Shit.
I have a savings account.
I don't got to argue about where I'm going to go for dinner.
That's right. But there was no argument. That's the thing. Everything
Yeah,
worked out
that's
great. It was a
good.
perfect night, right? As close as you can get to perfect. There was no like, not there was no glitch. There's
Especially
no
with it being on a
glitch.
Friday, too.
Yeah, no glitch. And so I was really surprised that there was a seat available, and there were tables available, and we were able to sit down without any delay, and then um, you make things happen.
Did you guys
Because
share a plate?
sometimes, so, yeah, we did. We actually shared a plate. We got a pizza, small pizza,
Mm.
pepperoni, delicious. Really, just like they make it authentic.
Ooh,
And then the pasta, we get this castole breve,
what's that?
which is basically it's like basically rib meat, right? So it's the meat from the
Ooh.
rib, and it's really super tender, and it's like a ragu, right? But it's like delicious and layered in its flavor,
In
you
red
know.
sauce?
In a it's more in a like almost like an au jus type of sauce. It's a
Damn,
brown
bro.
sauce.
Wow.
Really
I'm very basic. All I
delicious.
do is just spaghetti with
Dude,
Italian
if you tried
sausage.
this one, if you tried this, you'd like, oh, damn. The first time I
Yes.
had it, I was like, oh, I was head over heels.
Sounds callback. I like that. I love rib meat. Like I love rib meat. So that's
Yeah,
especially
really delicious. And a
uh,
lot of times when if I make a ragu,
uh,
I'll either have something from if it's like say pork chops or something like that. I'll take that and I'll take the leftover pork chops, chop them up, and put that in the ragu. It gives it that a layer of flavor in the red sauce
okay. So
that
because when
you're
you say
like,
ragu, you're talking about like a red sauce, right? Because
yeah,
that's
it's a
like the
ragu is kind of a red sauce that you simmer over a period of time, and you put
okay.
in, sometimes ribs, right? And like I learned that when I went to this place called I forget the name of the restaurant, but they had this the my favorite dish was Mama Jean's pasta, and it's
Hmm.
basically that. They're taking the stuff they put into the red sauce and they let it simmer over a period of time, and it's so delicious. So it's like, but I make one of those at myself, and it's really good. Um, and but that the castoli breve is like, whew,
Castolo breve sounds
I think it's that.
delicious.
I think I'm pronouncing that right. I could be
Sounds
wrong. They're
delicious.
going to say it's Bravo or something like that. I'll go, oh, okay, messed up. So it's delicious. And if you go to that restaurant, man, I think
I
you'll be
wish the
blown away.
regular ragu sauce sounded that delicious as what you're describing with ragu.
Yeah, ragu is not like that at all. It doesn't
No,
taste like that
ragu
at
is
all.
not like that at all.
But you know what's interesting, dude?
What?
I made my kids this and so sometimes at home, I've never did this growing up. My parents would never do a canned sauce or a jarred sauce.
Hmm.
But there's this sauce that is it's at Ralph's and it's called organic, simple organic, right?
Yes.
And it's like marinara.
Yep.
And my child who's in the autism spectrum doesn't like things, doesn't like chunkiness in the
The
sauce,
sauce.
right?
Okay, yeah.
Onions or tomatoes. And it's like, so I take that sauce and I put it in a mix in a like a beaker, a cooking beaker. It's tall, and I take an immersion blender, put it in there, and I just basically puree that sauce. And then and put it on his pasta,
Hmm.
right? So and he loves it. So I made that for the kids the other night, and it's like real quick. And sometimes I doctor it up with a little whatever, but I made it real quick. And my GF was like, "Hey, you have any? If you have any left over, why don't you bring it? I got a hankering for some pasta, right?" So I brought it, and she was like, "This is the best you've ever made." I was like, "Okay, I know the secret. I don't have to do a damn thing. I don't have to lift a fucking finger." I'll just pour it in a little pot the night before and go, I made it last night. Because she evidently doesn't like the things. And I just learned this about her. Because
Mm.
I made a homemade sauce that was fucking rocking, man. And I go, oh man, this is good. And she was like, I don't like all the things. Like the diced tomato, the diced
Well,
onion
that's what
in
makes the
there.
freaking spaghetti sauce,
Makes
though,
it rich. Exactly,
Yeah.
right? Little like
Yeah.
I made it with crushed tomatoes,
Mm.
not sauce.
Yeah.
So not puree, but crushed tomatoes. And it was like, so there's a richness there, right?
Not
So she's
feeling
not a
it.
big fan, chunks of garlic, right? And it's like saute that with the oil and the onions, put the meat in there,
Yeah.
oof,
Wow.
like little salt, pepper, garlic, bam, put
Yes.
that on there, put in the basil, the oregano, wham, just whoa, yeah, pow, whatever that.
Looks a little
Oh,
essence of emerald.
right, perfect. It was just, I was like, oh man, I was happy about myself.
Right?
Sprinkled in a little bit of sugar at the end to sort of
That's what you
mix all the
gotta do.
flavors,
That's what you gotta
get
do.
rid of
The acidic.
the acidicness,
Hmm.
right? So that was and I was happy about that. But she was not, and I'd get this fucking jarred sauce,
And then it's like, oh my God, this is
the
fantastic.
best you've ever made. Part of me's
Oh,
going, how
shit.
humiliating, but the other
Right?
part's going, this will be easy.
All right, cool.
I don't have to overthink anything anymore. Fuck this.
$2 a bottle. We're
That's right,
good.
man. Yeah. Next time we'll just pour ketchup on there.
Ah. Ugh.
So we never really got to the
We
influencers.
never really got to the influencers.
No,
we
but this is
dabbled.
us, right? This is us. We
This
should
is how
just
we
call it
roll.
the ADD comedy podcast.
Bouncing all over the place, yo. Just bouncing all over
So,
the place.
but we'll return to because we can't really find a list that meets our
There's not a good
criteria.
list, yeah, because there's like you said, like Rolling Stones is 25, Forbes is 50, and there was another website I was going to look at, but I didn't look at that one.
And
Well,
and
yeah,
I guess you can be called a nano influencer if you have 1,000
thousand plus.
subscribers.
Right. So I guess I'm a nano influencer on TikTok. Then that's pretty cool.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
You're building that
I'm
up. Stay
building it up,
consistent.
staying consistent,
But
dude.
that one dude, he has his theme, right? And it's
Yes.
like he's staying consistent with that theme. And when you see it come up in your scroll, you're now familiar with it, and you'll take a look, right? So I think that's something to consider too.
Yes.
But people who put up like motivational things every single day that are related to their field, and sometimes they're more general, right? They do something like that, and then you could do ones that are like that or humorous, or taking like idioms and sayings and then maybe correcting them through a comedic filter.
Yes.
Could be one, because all of that data is already out there, right? So whether it's cliches, idioms, aphorisms, quotes from motivational quotes are fun because they tell you this is how you're supposed to live your life.
Yes.
And then so anyway. I gotta roll because I was supposed to have a 1 o'clock. I didn't know we were.
Oh shit! It's 1:10. My bad, man. All right, y'all.
Your bad.
Appreciate you guys listening. I know we didn't really get onto any of the influencers, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm Teddy B.
And I'm Jerry Corley, the Joke Doctor. Have a good day.
Have a great day.